So, very last, before we get into any of the other deep uh, pieces of this particular chapter, is the idea of side effects. Now, again, side effects are going to be something that is really difficult to prove to you that exist here in pseudocode. And the reason for it is that you and I take a really lazy logical approach to how it is that our algorithms and our data are interacting with one another. And a runtime environment is not going to be anywhere near as lazy as we are. As a matter of fact, they are going to be exactly the opposite thereof. They are going to be, to a fault, 100% slavishly involved in doing exactly what you tell it to do. So you and I and a runtime environment are in no way, shape, or form the same. So a side effect is one of those places where the program is going to do what you tell it to do, irrespective of whether or not that's a good idea. Strictly speaking, a side effect occurs when a subordinate module alters a global variable inside of a module. And the intention here is that you, the developer, are requiring the program to change a global variable inadvertently. And what essentially happens is if you were expecting, the big capital P program to change something like account balance, and really you are calling it from here, remember again, that's going to be an S, a subordinate module. You're expecting the data that you your algorithm is creating here inside of the subordinate algorithm, if you expect this to be local, but in fact you are calling to something that is changing the capital P program, the global data there, we are going to have side effects. Something is going to go wrong. These side effects are really tough to nail down because we don't necessarily, number one, as developers, we're just the next developer in the chain. We don't necessarily have, the whole scope from start to finish of a project. And number two is because we can use the same global variable name and the same local variable name, sometimes it gets to be really sticky to understand which of these did we mean was global and which of these did we mean was local. So I have a couple of examples for you here on what that might look like. So from our same example that we've been using, the new wrinkle here is here inside of print account balance. We have declared 4 new variables: credits, debits, fees, and account balance. Now, I would suggest that probably as part of a bigger banking algorithm, we would have credits and debits here as part of our global variable list as well. But the problem is the name here, credits and debits, is going to be the same here as credits and debits, is going to be the same here as credits and debits, and they don't all of them refer to the same things. Here inside of change account balance, I have not declared local variables. So account balance is global account balance. Credits is global credits. Debits is global debits. Here inside of print account balance, debits, this one is debits, is local debits. This one, credits, is local credits. Account balance here is local account balance. But here on line 40, because I'm making a call to change account balance, that's this subordinate module, I might actually get this account balance, which is supposed to be local, to refer to this account balance, which is supposed to be global, which may not be the same thing. Now, if that seems like it's hard to track down, that's because it is. Now, some developers aim to avoid the side effect at all cost by actually going through and naming these local variables. Instead of just credits, this would be credits underscore, print account balance. This way, we are specifically referring to credits in account balance, or print account balance rather, the subordinate module, but there is absolutely positively no way that you are going to confuse as either a developer, or there's no way that you can force the runtime environment to confuse that for you or on your behalf. Where did this initiate? So instead of calling it debits, they would call it debit print account balance. Fees, this doubtless would be someplace else, and account balance from print account balance. That will certainly stay away from side effects. There's another equally fervent team of developers who insist they're never going to make that mistake. So if I have global account balance and I have a local account balance, the developer is going to put the onus on them to get that right. And, sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes, this developer is right, and sometimes that developer is equally wrong. And again, the choice really isn't yours to make. The choice is your shop's to make. Are they a no local variable shall share the name as a global variable shop? Maybe. Are they I don't know, did you get it to work right? Yep. Keep going. Shop. It's got to be one of the two. So let them tell you, what kind of developer you'll be. But that is the idea here of the side effect. It is an unintended consequence that is brought about by you referring to a global variable when very probably you had, in fact, intended on pointing to a local variable.